Good evening, guys. You are live with the We Are the Girls in Claret and Blue podcast. Sorry for missing last week. I was a little bit ill, so I wasn't up to it. But we're back and we're ready, and we've got a bumper show for you this week. So I'm joined as ever with my co-host Reese.
Nice to be back after a win finally as well in the WSL, which is important.
Absolutely, and we will get there later on, but we're going to start with the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're going to start with the bad and work our way up to the good. So we've got to talk about the last match, which was the defeat against Manchester United. We previewed it on our last show, and yeah, it didn't go as how we wished. So cast your mind back, Reese. Cast your mind back to that game, and what were your thoughts?
Well, it just from the first minute on, I sort of thought we were just off the pace all game. Both of our goals were well worked. I could see the attacking play and the attacking momentum was there as ever, but we still had the same defensive problems. It's hard to now talk about that game now. I know they've been addressed by our last two performances, but as much as we were bad, to be fair to Man United, were quite good that game. You can tell the two Americans they've got make a big difference to them. They're now top of the league, and that says enough talking for them. I think they were just a better team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think they were the better team, as much as it pains me to say it. Defensively, we were all over the shop. And the moment we got forward, we pretty much instantly let another goal in. So I don't think we were in the game at all the entire game. I'm not quite sure why. I don't just think it's because Man United were better than us. I think there was something going on there which it's kind of thrown us out. So it wasn't the greatest of games. I do think you're right that Tobin Heath and Kristen Press made a huge difference for them, but also their British youngster Russo has been absolutely outstanding for them, and she just tore our defence to shreds. To be honest,
wasn't we? I can't remember. It was either in January or this summer. I'm sure we were rumoured to be signing her.
Yeah, it was this summer when she came out of the States college system, but Man United picked us to it, and it's clear why.
She's fantastic forward. What I like about her is her movement off the ball. She just makes it easy for the midfielders to put balls through. It makes the crosses easy. She's always in the right position. She's a great forward, and she'll do well at Man United.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were just completely outdone. Honestly, I don't know what was wrong there. That seems to hopefully have been the end of the team disconnect. But yeah, the Man United game was not a great one. However, I have to give props to Rachel Daly. She was fantastic as ever in that game, got one of the goals, which I'm pretty sure was a cross, but
yeah,
it went in the back of the net, so I'm not complaining.
One thing that sort of worries me though about our team, I don't know if you feel the same, Ali, is if Rachel Daly goes in January back with the Houston Dash, I do worry about our team without her, because I don't think we're strong enough.
I also worry about Emily Van Egmond because she's supposed to go in January as well. I think we've got more of a chance of keeping hold of her just because she was unprotected in the latest draft. So she doesn't have as much of a connection with Orlando Pride. So I have a feeling that we might be able to get her to stay until the end of the season. But either so, we need to pick our game up and quick.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy how it's worked out this season because, well, when we heard who we signed, everyone was positive of a top 5 finish, and now we're wondering, whether we'll do well without 2 players. What a change.
No, absolutely. Though I do have to point out one positive: for the first time since their introduction into the WSL, we are above Tottenham.
Yeah, that's a very good positive, but they haven't even won a game yet, so let's hope Bristol pick up their form and they go down.
With that goal difference, it's going to be a bit dicey. we have had a question from our friend Wally about the US League. Is it on hiatus? Yes, they've pushed it back. So they had a mini tournament earlier this year. It was the first thing to happen outside of the COVID, after the COVID thing. So they had a mini tournament. Houston Dash won the mini tournament. And then it's supposed to start back in January. Again, I think that's going to be COVID dependent if they can indeed start back up in January. But they've also got a new team starting this season with Racing Louisville. That they just had their expansion draft yesterday and managed to pick up the rights of quite a few great players, including Preston Heath. They've got the rights to them. But the likelihood is they're going to sell them to the LA team the season after.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think both of them will stay at Man United, and I'll tell you why. It's because I think the WSL is starting to take over the NWSL now.
I think they'll stay at Man United for another season, but I'm pretty sure they'll go to LA just because Kristen's from LA, and I think she might want to go home. Whether Heath goes, I don't know, but I think Kristen definitely will maybe stay not just this season, next season, and then wait till the LA team come.
I don't know if you've seen some interviews by Tobin Heath, building up to the Manchester game, but I think she's fallen in love with Manchester United, so I think she may stay there.
She has. It sounds like she's very much in with Man United. I don't think it's going to win her any favours in Manchester as a whole, considering what she said about Man City. For those of you who haven't read the interview, she said that Manchester City weren't really a big team and that nobody really watched them, and that it was all about Man United. That hasn't won her any favours, I don't think.
To be honest, her saying that is like it's the perfect player for the perfect fan base, because they are all about Manchester United. We're the best. Nobody is the rest, and that is their attitude. So she couldn't have picked a better club by the sounds of it for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think that this Manchester derby is going to be an absolute corker.
I think there's going to be I think both teams might end up with a red card by the end of it. I think it's going to be a really 100%. Feisty game.
100%. I reckon, and you can put money on this, I reckon, that Georgia Stanway will get sent off.
I was about to say that. Heath and Stanway will go in for a tackle.
Exactly. And I think Stanway will get sent off. And then I think if she's playing, that Ella Toon will get sent off. Because they're both quite young and they're both quite hot-headed. Like, if people remember when we beat Man United last season, Toon got sent off because she was very impassioned. She was very passionate, but she kept doing these really rash challenges that.
Did she nearly have I don't know, was it that game or the game before? I think her and Kiernan nearly got into
it was that game. It's the one where we won because Kiernan got sent off as well. Like, they were proper going at it. And then the same with Stanway. I think she's a great player.
Was that the game? This was the game when me and you thought Leanne was going to get into a punch-up with Tooney.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, that was it. Right, so, I remember it now.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least a red card from each team in the Manchester derby. It's going to be an absolute cracker.
Tomorrow 12:30 for anybody that wants to watch it. Me and Ali will be.
Absolutely. And also a great thing is BT have put it on their YouTube channel for free. So you don't have to have a BT Sport subscription to watch it. It will be on their YouTube channel, which is a great positive start for Women's Football Weekend.
I have to say, this Women's Football Weekend is a massive improvement on the last. I know the staggered kickoff times are more to do with probably the COVID regulations, but I think that's the way to go, to have the proper weekend where fans can watch every game. It's a shame that fans can't be in the stadium, but I think that the staggered kickoff times is brilliant because, I mean, me and you will be watching it all day, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I've already told me missus that's what we're doing this weekend. She agrees. It wasn't like I put my foot down. She's very much as invested as I am.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Man City and West Ham. She loves both of them.
Exactly. So that's all the bad news out of the way. So we're going to go on to something positive. We played Reading in the Conti Cup a couple of weeks ago, and we did a very convincing win of 3-0. Not only was it convincing, we kept a clean sheet.
No, I'm going to say how it is. I'm very disappointed with the way the club treated us. But during leading up to the game, with not giving us a stream able to watch, especially paying season tickets like me and yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll say it on YouTube because I know some members of the club watch it. I would like to have a link to watch my team, and I want them to make that possible, because me and you are trying to review the game. Other fans that put their blood, sweat, and tears into the team in terms of support can't watch the game, and it's ridiculous, especially in these times. I could understand it if we was able to attend in person, but knowing this behind closed doors and not providing a link so your fans can watch it, in my eyes, is disgusting.
That's the thing, because it was recorded, because you could watch it the day after on the FA player. So there was definitely cameras there, and it's like West Ham, just a camera on your YouTube feed. That's all we're asking, is that we can watch it live. Like, following on Twitter was fine, but it wasn't great.
Even if they charged us £5 to pay for it, because we season ticket holders would have to pay for cup games anyway, we wouldn't mind that. We're just asking to be able to watch.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because we played this Wednesday again against Charlton, I'm hoping Charlton will have a stream. I think they might. It might go on their Facebook feed, which...
Is that at home or away? I think it's away, isn't it?
It's away to Charlton, so I'm hoping that they will do something.
Hopefully. Be interested to see how we line up against them as well, and what type of team he puts up. I
would like to see someone like Lois Joel and Ruby Grant get a proper start against Charlton, and put Norma Stafford up. I want her to get her first full 90 minutes.
Kiss starts as well. That would be a good,
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some great youngsters, and it's no disrespect to Charlton, but the cup games are the games to try them out.
Well, with that cup, I think until you get to the later stages, that's what most teams do. So we might as well join the party.
Yep, absolutely. And we have had another question. West Ham have had its players from other countries. I've always wondered, with Man United, Man City getting American players, do you get a sense if the Hammers will look for American players? So it's very weird, because our first season we had a fair few. We had Erin Simon, and we had Brianna Vasali, and Brooke Hendricks, and they came over to get a proper start in the league. Matt has got a very good reputation over in the States, because he was the manager for Boston Breakers for a very long time. So that's how we managed to get, though she's not American, but the Canadian Adriana Leon, due to her time at Boston.
Grace come over from the States as well.
Yeah, so Grace came over from the States. Martha has been the States. So we've had a few. If we keep Matt as a manager in January, I think we will get some more American players. Some of the ones that have not been protected in the draft, that are not the favourite players in terms of the American, basically not American internationals, so not the ones that are going to be playing for their international team. I think we will get, but it depends on if Matt is still manager in January.
Oh, I think, after our last two games, we're on a positive step to confirm Matt will be manager in January, hopefully.
I have opinions, and we'll get to that in Birmingham. Just get run down.
God. For anybody that doesn't know, Ali Run coming up.
No, it's not a run, it's an observation, and that's the difference. But back to Reading, I was really pleased with the Reading. When I watched it back, I was really pleased with the Reading game. We were defensively very tight, which seemed like keeping the clean sheet. Mac managed to save a penalty, and I think put off a player for their second penalty. 3 great goals with 3 great assists from Martha Thomas. I do think we've missed her in the beginning of our season because she was out through to injury. Yeah. And if we can keep her injury free, then I think that's going to be great, because she's been instrumental in getting our goals. And it was just all round a great West Ham performance.
I thought that from what I saw, that game sort of reminded me of last season a bit, the way we played. We had our swagger back. We knew how to play. Our transitional play was much better. And we actually kept a clean sheet for once, which was nice to see.
That's the biggest takeaway, isn't it? That we managed to keep a clean sheet even when they got 2 penalties. We clearly don't like Emma Mitchell because we fouled her twice.
Mackenzie was great that game, though, in goal.
Mac was the goalkeeper I was hoping her to be. Like when I bigged up Mac Arnold when we signed her, that performance at Reading is what I was wanting. And I think we gave her the service. Like we had a great back line, we had a great midfield, great up front. So I think it was a best West Ham performance I've seen this season.
From what I've seen, I don't know if you agree, Ali, but from what I've seen of Mackenzie, I haven't watched her much before. It's the first season I've fully watched her, to be honest, since she's joined West Ham. I think she's a keeper that's more of, she has to have a solid back four in front of her because she is a really good reaction shot stopper. But she's not a keeper that can relentlessly have a ball fired at her for 90 minutes and, save everything.
Yep. I think you're right. I do. I think, she's very reliant on having her defender.
She has to be protected, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get onto that again when we get onto the Birmingham game. But that seems to be the difference. I think we were lucky in the fact that Reading seemed to be not on their best game. I mean, it's not every day that Danielle Carter doesn't just bury a penalty. And the same with Bruton, to be honest. But all in all, I was a very happy Hammer.
Alicia had a very good game against Reading as well, from what I saw.
Yes, Alicia was back on form. We also had Rachel Date. We've got, Leon was cracking. Everybody seemed to be back on where they should be. And it was just one of the best West Ham games I've seen.
Oh, definitely. However, going on to the Birmingham game, I do think, we didn't put that performance out on Sunday. And to be honest, I actually do think the fact that we won papered over a few cracks.
100%. But just quickly on the Conti Cup, that also puts us top of our group, which puts us in a very good position.
It's weird because normally we do well in the league this time of year and bad in the Conti Cup. But this year we're reversed. So maybe that's our plan. We're concentrating on the Conti Cup this year. Yeah,
get a bit of silverware. But we did good. So I'm very happy. But yeah, Birmingham game. I'm happy we got the win. And a win is a win. But it was not a great West Ham performance.
No. One thing I noticed, though, not until I watched the highlights. Remember when I said to you, I missed the first 10 minutes of the first half, or the last 10 and the first 10 of the second half? Both of them 10 minutes, Birmingham hit the post and the bar twice.
Yep.
Crazy. But going on to that Birmingham game, I thought attackingly we looked okay. However, I thought I thought we were quite abject in our play in terms of we had no purpose to where the ball was going. Very sloppy in midfield, which was unlike us. But as much as we were bad, I think again Birmingham were very good. I think that would be their best performance so far this season, from what I've seen of Birmingham. However, you have to question, why do we keep on performing like this in the league?
That's it. I mean, if we look at Birmingham's goal, defensively, that was a huge mistake.
Well, it's unacceptable.
Was massive in the fact that I get what Gilly was trying to do. And I'm like, fair play, because she has scored and can score some great goals. So I understood what Gilly was doing. Why was Grace going down with her? Why was Vetterline? Why was our entire back four running with Gilly, which we then got caught on the counter and they just basically had a free run to goal? Like, that was a huge defensive error.
Maybe I'm being harsh, but I do think Mackenzie should have saved that.
She had no cover. Like, genuinely, that should have... Your goalkeeper, I've said this before and I'll say it again, your goalkeeper is your last line of defence. It is not your only line of defence.
I still think the goalkeeping's positioning was wrong. I think she was far too way out of her box. And if she was in the right position, she would have saved that.
Yeah. That is the only thing I have against Mackenzie, is the fact that she gives me a heart attack because she likes to come out far too far.
Well, I'll be honest, I think Courtney's a better goalkeeper from what I've seen.
You would say that.
No, in general now, I've had several games where I've watched Mackenzie in goal. I just think Courtney's a better goalkeeper. I think she's more comfortable on the ball. I think it's when Anna was here, it's what I said why I liked Courtney over is for every time Courtney would catch something, Mackenzie or Anna would palm. And I think Mackenzie palms the ball too much. She doesn't collect the ball. She doesn't take pressure off her defence by catching the ball enough for me. Where Courtney does.
I don't think Courtney's a better goalkeeper. I think Courtney's a great goalkeeper. I don't think she's a better goalkeeper. I think she's better in Matt's system. And I think that's the difference. Mackenzie,
maybe that is a very key solution because, as you know, when I saw her on the highlights video, and I know highlights are there to make players look good, but I watched a few full matches as well. And I think you're bang on it there.
Yeah. Because she's a great goalkeeper. She wouldn't have been Australia's number one if she wasn't. I think Courtney fits Matt's system better, which is why either Mackenzie needs to fit his system or we need to use Courtney more for pivotal games.
But the thing I have to question with that is, if you know that's the case, why would you not, even if it's, Matt, go in and explain to both the goalkeepers, even explain to Mackenzie, look, I'm gonna, from what I've seen in pre-season, I think Courtney's better to my system, so I'm going to start her for the several league games, and then once you, Mackenzie, get used to my system in cup games, you then progress onto league fixtures. Why not do that? Don't throw a goalkeeper in the deep end.
There's a cynic answer, which is it depends on contracts, because there may be in contracts that she has to make a certain amount of appearances. Because I know, not so much at West Ham, but I know for a fact at Man City and a couple of other clubs that certain players have it in their contract that they've got to appear for so many games. So it could be that Mac has that in her contract.
Yeah, she probably has to start 75% of league fixtures, probably.
Yes, something like that. So that wouldn't surprise me. Now, this is where I have my controversial opinion, but I have an opinion. So, do I not have an opinion? But I have an opinion.
Is this about our lovely manager, Matt Beard? Or
it is. Ish. It is. Now, I love Matt, and I have a really soft spot for Matt. But the difference between the first half and the second half, I feel, was the first half was playing to Matt's system. The second half, the players were ignoring him. And if you listen to the commentary and if you listen to him shouting, it's very clear they're not listening to him. Because I think that second half performance, which was far better than the first, came from Daly, it came from Flaherty, and it came from Van Egmond. And those three basically turned the game around, and it's not listening to Matt. Because the reason Mackenzie was so poor in that first half is because she's being used as a pawn because he's so obsessed with playing out from the back. And she was being used as a position pawn rather than a goalkeeper.
I just find it so hard to, not disrespect Matt, but go against him for me. I think the trouble is, I'll be completely honest with this. Every single season, there is a section in the season where something goes wrong, and I think it's clear where the players either have a rebel against the manager or there's a divide between the two players. We have got to stop this, and there's one way you do it. Which I don't think Jack's going to do, is either you go and sack the manager because you think he's the problem, or you go in as an owner and address it and say, I back the manager, I'm not having this, So whoever Matt selects he wants out will go. And I think that's the only way to resolve it. However, the time for that is not now. That will be at the end of the season. So maybe this season we sort of have to stick our foot in the mud, stay with Matt, show resilience, show belief in our manager, and just hopefully we stay up and then change the players at the end of the season. Or we get rid of Matt because something's happening.
The problem, I think, and look, I have nothing against Matt. I love Matt, I do. But there's a great saying, which is doing the same thing multiple times and expecting a different result is the sign of insanity. When we learn that we can't play out from the back, it does not work. And it doesn't matter if we're playing against big teams, like look how we were punished by Arsenal for doing it, or if we're playing against Birmingham, we were playing out from the back and we got caught out. And genuinely, if they had a better shot, if we hadn't injured one of their strikers, because we did, thank you, Vetterlein, they could have won that, and far too easily. So when do we change things up? If Matt's not willing to, then he's got to go. Because the system's not working.
I think I agree with you, or I don't know. I keep on saying the players, but you can't change players halfway through a season. What I struggled, and I've always said this to you, Ali, when you've said these debates, is I really can't see a better manager to come in right now. However, and I know again you're going to disagree with me with this statement. Some people would have, well, a lot of people would have said that about David Moyes at the start. If we all knew David Moyes was going to come in, we'd say keep Pellegrini because he's a better manager. However, now it's proved that Moyes has got a system and is doing well. However, that's enough of the men's team.
Yeah, they get enough press.
But I think Matt's got a proven track record at West Ham, especially, of turning things around. And I think we're at the stage now where he's starting to.
But why are we getting into that decision in the first place? You said he's got a history of turning us around. In the last 2 seasons, we've had the same slump. We've got different players. You can't blame the players. There's only one continuous factor in that. And it pains me. It pains me because I love him. But we need to change the system. Do we need someone who's played the game rather than just managed it? Because look at Stoney at Man United. She's had 3 solid seasons and she's had that as an ex-player. She's had a little bit of managerial experience, which was at England, and then away she went to Man United. Do we need that? Do we need someone like Rachel Yankee? Do we need, a Kelly Smith, a Faye White? Try not to just name Arsenal players, but do we not need someone like that can relate to the players a bit more than Matt? I don't know.
I think if we was to get rid of Matt, I think the way to go would be get a young manager that knows the women's game. And I think that's the only other solution to Matt.
And he's thrown his phone in disgust. No, like I said, it's just I'm running out of ideas and I'm running out of patience is the honest answer. Because there are games that we should have won and we haven't, and there are games where we shouldn't have lost as much as we did. You look at the Everton game, we got back into it and then we just went. You look at the Tottenham game, we could have won it and we just didn't quite click with it. The Man United game, we were completely out of it. The Arsenal game, we were completely out of it. The only solid consistency that is Matt. So either he needs to change the system or we need to change the manager because it's just not working.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fix my headphones. Hold on.
Can't get the staff these days.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. However, I think if you're going to change a manager, make the decision now. Because if we stayed with Matt until February or until January, and put a new manager, and I think you're throwing the new manager into the deep end too much. You're not giving him enough time to implement his system. The trouble with implementing player managers in January is they have to get the players to suit their system really quickly. They have to concentrate on that, and they don't address addressing the system to the new players. However, I think one player that's going to have a vital role with either staying with Matt or the new manager is Chile, because the captain's job is to either go in there and say, the club is not going to get rid of this manager. We need to back him and start playing for him, because that's what I think the problem is. Or, you know, if Jack decides to get rid of Matt and we bring a new manager in, her job then is to, normally a manager would have a meeting with the captain, and her job would then be able to get his system and relate that to the players very quickly so we get results. Because I think if it got to that stage, we would be near the relegation zone and we would need results very quickly.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say something very bold, like I always have, because I don't care. I would give Matt until the Chelsea game. If we lose, look, I'm not going to say we're going to win the Chelsea game because it's Chelsea. But if we get another 8-0 rollicking from Chelsea, then I would get rid of Matt. And it's painful to say that, but if we lose to Chelsea, something ridiculous, I would say goodbye, because the next 2 games we've got against Bristol City and Aston Villa, we should win those if all things go to well. And then that will give a new manager time to bed in before the January game, which is our first game in January, is Man City.
But in saying that, sorry, I want to bloody fix these headphones. Well, in saying that, if Matt won the next game and then Charlton, and then I think we would have Chelsea then.
Yeah, we do.
And lost to them, would you still sack him after winning his last 4 games on the bounce that day?
Depends on what the Chelsea result is. If we lose to Chelsea like 1-2, 3-0, then I would keep him. If we lose to Chelsea 6, 7, 8-0, get gone, because there is something clearly wrong with defensive tactics there. Clearly. We cannot afford to have another absolute rollicking, because this league, not so much at the top, but at the bottom, is going to come down to goal difference. We are lucky at the moment that Bristol have been beaten badly twice, once against Chelsea, once against Man City. If we lose to Chelsea that badly, we're put on the same footing as them and we're screwed. So if we lose to Chelsea, ridiculous amount, I would get rid of him, because then we can bed in a new manager in time for the Man City game, because we should beat Bristol, we should beat Aston Villa sleepwalking.
So I find that opinion hard to back if he would have won his last 4 games before that Chelsea game.
One second, I've got to let a cat in.
I think it is one of them opinions, Ali, where it's very hard for me. You know, I am Mr. Matt Beard fan central. Yeah, you know, it's very hard for me, as you know, to go against Matt. But especially with the philosophy of you won your last 4 games, but because you've got smashed by Chelsea, let's sack him.
Yeah, but look who we've played. We've played Birmingham, who barely won a match last season. We've played Reading, which granted was a great result because Reading are a cracking side. We're playing Brighton, who we've got a fantastic record against, so we should beat them. And we've got Charlton, who are the league below us. That it's not like we've gone and smashed Arsenal, we've smashed Man City, Man United, and those are the games we've won on the belts. We've won. They're games we should win. We shouldn't be surprised that we're beating Birmingham. We shouldn't be surprised that we're beating if we beat Brighton. That's why I'm saying we get rid of him after the Chelsea match if we get smashed, because it's not like he's won games we shouldn't be winning already.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say if he won them 4 games, that it would be a sign of him turning things around? Because it would to me.
No, I'm going to be honest. No, because they're games we should be winning. Turning it around is making sure that we curb the defeat at Chelsea. Turning things around is that we put in another performance like we did against Reading. That's what is turning the game around, not scraping wins against the team that barely won anything last season.
Yeah, but I think, in saying that about Birmingham, okay, isn't there a saying in football, and it's one that I believe in, very much, is when you play bad, good teams win. And I think because we played bad against Birmingham, but because we're a good team, we won.
Look, I don't hate Matt. I don't want to get rid of Matt.
I know you don't. But
I really like Matt, but I love West Ham more. And that's the response I've got, is I love my team more than I love the manager. And I want us to be more comfortable and playing the games. I want to stop finishing 8th.
Yeah.
And with the squad that we've got, we can finish more than 8th. But I can't see it with Matt. And I'm going to be honest that I can't see it, because we keep getting into these same situations. And it can't be the players each and every time. Unless it's Gilly, unless it's Kate, the players that have been there since the beginning, unless it's Leanne and they're all causing trouble, then it has to be Matt. It has to be Matt that's the problem.
I think, to be honest, if Matt was to go, I think the downfall would be every summer bringing in too many new players. And I've always said that every season, not just this season because we're doing badly. I say it at every start to every season so far. However, as you know, Ali, if there's any West Ham manager that I would fall behind and back till the end, it is Matt. So I think we're both having a debate with the wrong person with this, because I am so, because of personal reasons as well. I'm so, personally connected to Matt, not only as a West Ham manager, as you know, but because of stuff he's done for me. And I think you're thinking it more from a football side, and I find it hard to, because of the personal connection.
I am, because I'm putting aside my feelings for Matt, because I do love him as a person. But from a football, I love West Ham more, and we're just not. And then also, you think about bringing too many players in the summer. We've got to replace the players we lose. Like, we keep losing a lot of players.
But don't. Another question is, and I know this, what I'm going to say is even going to strengthen your point. But I think, replacing players, that argument. Okay, I think we lost 4, 5. For every 5 we lose, it seems like we bring in 10. I think we should replace the same players in the same position when we lose them, not add double. And I think we do that far too much.
Yeah, but then you look at, like, Martha got out injured for most of the first of the season. We don't have an out-and-out striker. Well, we do. We have Nort, but we're not playing her. You look at other like, we can't just. We have to at least have someone as backup.
But if we lost Matt, and I'll say this as well, would you trust that we would get a manager that knows women's football inside and out? Because I wouldn't. If you look at Man City, they've got. I think it could even be someone from our academy that's doing great that becomes the first team women's manager.
But then I would maybe see if you could poach someone from the Championship, because you look at Carla Ward for Birmingham. She's turned Birmingham around. Like, I'm making fun of them, but she has turned them around, and the fans love her. She's just been voted manager of the month. Because of what she's doing. So we could, there's Nigel Redfern, I think he's Sheffield's at the moment, manager. There's a load of great Championship managers. There's Lee Birch at the London Bees, who I would love to poach.
That would be a really good sign.
I would love to poach, because he has definitely got to think. So there is managers out there that I reckon if we gave them the right incentive, we could get them. I don't know. I don't know.
What I would love to see, and I've seen teams do it recently, and it's worked, and I've always wanted our men's team to do it and our women's team, if we got to the stage where we're talking about our new manager, I love seeing a team taking a punt on a young manager with no experience and them turning it round and being absolutely fantastic. And I think maybe appoint a Rachel Yankee where she's got no pressure on her and she's in a very good situation.
I would love Rachel Yankee to come down to West Ham. Even if she just came down as a coach, never mind as the manager. If she came down and could work with our younger players, I'd be very, very happy. So yeah,
one manager, one pundit I would really love to see as a manager, and I'll throw it out there, go for Alex Scott, because she'd be absolutely fantastic. And I'm now going to say that if we get rid of Matt, Alex Scott is my first choice.
If we can tear her away from a media career, then maybe.
Well, she proves in a media career that she does have a great knowledge of the game, and I think she would be a great manager. And I'm sure she would take a managerial role over sitting with two old blokes talking about Premier League football.
You can hope. So we've rattled on for a long time. We still not hit all of our points because it is women's football weekend this weekend. As we've mentioned, all of the games have been staggered, so you can watch all 6 of them if you want. But we're going to focus on West Ham. West Ham, we've got Brighton. We've got Hope Powell's Brighton this season. We've got a good track record against Brighton. Out of the times we've played them, we've only lost to them once. And that was, I think it was an FA Cup hangover because it was the last game of the last season. And where, we just went to pieces.
After that game, I think I wouldn't stop saying for the whole of last season, and I said it this summer, we need to get Umaton.
Yeah.
That was that game.
Yeah. So we have got a good track record against Brighton. They have tightened up defensively since this season. So the game in the Conti Cup, I don't think is a good indication. I don't think it's going to be a walkover, but I think if we put in the performance like we did against Reading, not against Birmingham, then we'll win comfortably.
I have to say this game has got a lot of significance because, especially in your situation, Ali, as you've proved tonight, if we lost to Brighton, I think there would be a turn in the fan base where we would start to want to see something new. Take from what you will. However, if we win, I believe it will be a sign of Matt is starting to turn this around personally. So yeah. I think this game's got great significance. But one thing I want to see is I would like us to change the system, play to what we have with our players, and I would like to see a 4-4-2 with Noor and Martha up top and just whip a load of crosses in the box because we have got players that can do that, and we can also play long ball.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at what the service Daily gives, and as someone pointed out to me today, Emily Van Egmond is probably one of the tallest midfielders in the league. She towers over defenders, so if you can get a long ball up to her, she is going to be able to bang in those headers like she has been doing to give us the advantage.
I think we play Emily in the wrong system as well. I think if we play her as a holding midfielder most of the time, put her at number 10, get a load of crosses in there, make her make darting runs, sort of like the Souček role with the men's team. Get her to play that. We've scored so many goals. She's already proved it that she can score from crosses.
Exactly. So I would, and I'm going to say something controversial for me, I would have Courtney in goal.
Oh, hallelujah.
Just because she's proven herself against Brighton. And if Matt is insisting on the system he's insisting on, then I think Courtney's going to slot in better. So I would have Courtney in goal. And I would have two up front. I would have Martha and Noor. And I would have Leon and Alicia sort of out wide.
See, because we played, I'll tell you actually one thing I think is a massive difference. It's something I've just thought of. I think Julia Simic leaving is actually the reason why things are starting to turn. Because earlier implemented Matt's system perfectly, and I think we're missing that number 10, which is why I always, especially when it announced she went to Napoli on loan, since that day, I've always wondered why we got rid of Jacinta, because she would have been a perfect replacement, in my opinion, for Julia Simic. So I think, from what I've seen in pre-season, I actually think something went wrong between the management and Jacinta there.
I think so too. I think you're not wrong.
Only my interpretation. However, I think we've got to get results. So let's change the system, put Courtney in goal, because, as I said, I think she's a better goalkeeper. I think we go with a solid back four. I think Maz is still in. Pacheco's still injured.
I think so, which is another great loss as well, because Maz was something special.
I would put Dahlia right back in that situation, because I think she's experienced, and we need experienced players at this time. Julie at centre back. Grace again at centre back. Then I'd put Kavami at left back. Left midfield, I'd have Leon, Ruby at centre midfield with Van Egmond. I think I've already said Lehman at right midfield, and then Nora Martha up front. Play 4-4-2. Play the most basic system in football, and play a system when you need results. That always works, and for me, that's always a 4-4-2.
Would you put Cisco in everywhere, because she is a tall, very built player that can be a rock for us potentially?
I would put Sissoko on if we was 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go, and we just needed a tall player in there, because Brighton are a long ball team.
Yeah.
So everything that goes into our box, she'll head her out with Emily Van Egmond. That would be the way I utilise her for that game.
Right. Okay. And finally, before we sign off, score predictions.
I'll go 2-1 to us.
I will go 3-1 to us, which is what the score was last time we played. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. It's wishful thinking.
I think that's rule number 1 on our podcast. Always make sure the opponent has won.
And very quickly, before we sign off, one of our American viewers is, where can I watch the women's game in the US? The great thing is, if you have a smartphone, you can download the app of the FA Player. This is geo-unlocked, so you can watch it in the States without any worries.
You can also watch it if you have a PlayStation or Xbox. Just open up the web browser, search FA Player, and there you go. You can watch it on your TV.
Yep, absolutely. So you can keep supporting our girls, and the kickoff is quite an early one today. This weekend after 12, but normally our kickoffs are either 2 or 3, so it shouldn't be too bad. Right, I'm getting a sore throat from ranting, so I'm going to end it there. Hopefully, I will come back with a smile on my face next week. But for now, it is a goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me, and let's hope next week Ali's Matt Beard in.
Bye, guys.